Okay. I'm testing it, testing it, testing it. Oh, hold on. All right, so we're live. We're live. Okay, so I was trying to get the sources right so that we can do a proper slideshow. I feel like it would be easier if I was able to do that and just click through. Okay, so pray for me on that. So today what we're doing is 2025 lessons that we learned from celebrities, right? So pop culture, but make it, life lessons based on that, okay? And I have a couple of them. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't be paying too much attention to the celebrity news, okay? I don't be, and then also what we consider or who we consider to be celebrities is, it's different, right? It's different. It's different because I feel like with the age of social media, there are so many people that other people would consider to be celebrities, but I'm just going to be talking about people that I feel like are household names, okay? Household names. And anything that we bring up, of course, that's allegedly, right? I don't need nobody, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to be able to pay nothing, okay? But we're just going to keep it light and airy, and we're really just looking at the things that, have been publicized or whatever, and circling back to our lives, okay? And what can we learn as a collective from these things, okay? All right, we're going to go ahead and start with number one, okay? And I'm hoping that the sizing is right. But yeah, I don't know. Nelly and Ashanti, this lesson, we learned not to circle back. Yeah, I believe back in the day, they were on again, off again, with their relationship. And, I feel like, for him, maybe Ashanti was the one that got away. For her, one that got away, they had a lot of, history, He did some things. Maybe she did. I never heard nothing about her doing anything, but they decided to come together, and have a child. I don't know if they got married. I'm not sure. I'm from the South. So whenever somebody have a child, the first thing we ask is, did they get married? When was the wedding? That's the first thing we're going to ask, being from the deep, deep South, But they did have a child together. Now, they had a show. And it was very eye-opening, right? Because he was not very hands-on, with the child, and he was like, call me when the child can walk and stuff like that. And then I can be more active and see something that lets me know that I don't know. I'm not sold on it. And I don't know if her mother is sold on it as well, but that's none of my business. But we learn not to circle back because, I feel like, especially now that I'm 32 and, growing and everything like that, there's this pressure of getting married and having kids and having that white picket fence. And so maybe, we can circle back into these old relationships and maybe, things weren't as bad as we thought they were. You know what I mean? So you date an ex or you date somebody that you used to know or something. It just didn't get off the ground and things like that. And any rejection is always going to be God's protection, in my personal opinion, because she was on the yachts. She was on the boats. She was on vacation all year round. Every day was summer for Ashanti. And to see, maybe she wanted a child. And I'm going to talk about women and career. We're going to do that maybe tomorrow. Maybe. Don't. I'm going to do my best. But we're going to be talking about career But it's just kind of like maybe she felt like, I want to have a child. I'm getting up there in age. I have these eggs and, fertility and things like that. And maybe, because they had such good history together, maybe she was like, oh, well, I could just, I know him. He could be the father of my child, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know, like if like a relationship, I just really just don't recommend circling back because it's always something. Like you might have, like your first glance, your intuition was like, no, right? It was like, no, don't do that. Don't be with that, da, 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 da. Or it just never happened the way. And then when it do happen, it's not the same. I just don't circle back. Don't circle back. And I didn't like what I saw. I just saw the little clips, but he was not as active because I feel like when a woman have a child, she, like her body is a tree now and she is growing the fruit, right? She's having cravings. She's having cravings. If you've seen any of those alien movies, she has a little alien growing inside of her and it's making her feel these things, right? She got to get up. She got to sleep a certain type of way and everything like that. And women, when they have the child, they can't sleep through the night because, they just can't. So she's not getting her sleep. And for him to be like, oh, I'm not going to be able to help till he start walking. Leave him now. Leave him now. Okay? Personal opinion. Because I just don't feel like it's fair for women to give up a piece of themselves, right? To bring life into the world and to be met with such irritation, right? Like you become somebody different because you're a mother now. Like you're not getting your sleep, your food is your body, you gaining weight or you whatever the case may be. Like it's just too much. Like your body go through real life changes. And I feel like the bare minimum for him to do is to help out with the baby. Like, we're not tolerating that. So I'm not even finna, you know what I'm saying, harp on it too long, but just don't circle back. Don't circle back. Don't circle back. You can always do better. You can always do better. I don't care. I don't care. And here's the other thing that I want to say on that. I feel like we circle back because we feel like we can't find anything better. There's nothing out there in the streets. Well, it might not be a lot in the streets, but you can be out in the streets and have a good time and be like, who is that? Diana Ross child. Okay. Do that. Don't be out here just getting with people just because you need to fill some type of void or don't get back with your ex. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Learn from Ashanti. Okay. Because now, who's next? Let's see. Okay. Girl. Woo! My God, today. This is recent. My memory was bad a little bit with Ashanti, but I got mad all over. But now I'm upset. I'm really mad. And here's the thing. What's really disheartening is that, to be in the public eye and have a relationship go bad in such a public manner, it is really sad. And I just want to say I'm so sorry, right? But here's the thing. When you have a relationship so public, there used to be this thing. I don't know if people still, I don't know. But back in the day, they used to say if you had a relationship and it was aired on a reality TV show, the likelihood of your relationship, like making it, was slim to none. Okay? Now, I'm not going to go down a whole laundry list of people that were in relationships on reality TVs that they're still together, but it just didn't last. Okay? It just didn't last. And so here's the thing. We have footage of their relationship where he was not the best person. I saw footage where he was talking about the money part, like a woman's assets versus a man's assets and all this other stuff. And see, that's what I'm going to talk about career in another video, right? Because side note, people were kind of irritated with my horrors. The horrors, because I know I hit a nerve when I said, when you are much more accomplished than your husband as a woman, it's hard. It is hard. And it's a nightmare because look at this. And, I feel like the reason it was able to even happen in the first place, that he was able to come in, is Kandi needs to heal. Yeah. She needs to heal. Because if you watch the show, her mom did a number. Okay. You could just tell the energy. The energy was just, her mom did a lot. And having insecurities and having all this issues happening with your mom, it makes it easier and it makes you a target for someone else to come in and do the same thing, right? First thing he did was got rid of all her friends. Drive a wedge between her and her mom, right? Because game peep game, right? All right. Get rid of her friends, alienate her from everybody she's around, and then start sticking his needles and everything inside of her to get what he want out of the situation. Get what he want, but it's still not enough, right? He's getting the businesses. He's doing this, he's doing that, but it's still not enough. It's not going to ever be enough. Why? Because he didn't actually achieve it, right? We're going to talk about this in another video, but I'm going to just go ahead and tell you, men need to do stuff. They need to do it. They need to do it themselves. They need that chase, right? And so he was never happy in the relationship because even though she is doing and she's, allowing him, the word is allowing him to spend the money, start these businesses, right? It's not, she gave it to him. You see what I'm saying? She gave him the capital to start it. It's not grassroots all the way up, right? And even with her giving him things, there's only so much you gonna get. There's this invisible leash. He ain't gonna get every little thing. They not, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I love Kandi. Kandi, we love the man, but at the end of the day, 1 + 1 is 2. Okay, very much mathematical. Okay, yeah. So it's gonna be ironclad. We're going to make sure that we're signing the documentation. I love Kandi because there are other celebrities like Halle Berry and a few others. I have they get in love and they be in love and they in love, and then the math go out of the thing, and we're gonna talk about that. Like, I'm probably gonna talk about it tomorrow, but it's just kind of like women have to protect themselves. We do. We have to protect ourselves financially. We have to protect ourselves in every financially, mentally, emotionally, all of it, because it's worse when it happens to us. Okay, it's always going to be worse when it happens to us because we got kids we got to think about. We got family we got to think about. It's not just us. You see what I'm saying? A man, he going to be all right. He going to be all right. He going to find another come up. He going to figure it out. I'm sure he's going to be fine. Right? But women, we have to protect our assets. We have to protect our heart. We have to protect because we give so much. Right? We give so much to other people, and it's not just us. It's a whole community standing behind us. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of our math. Okay? Our math has to always be mathing. Okay? Clearly, it has to always be mathing. But I really feel like she needs to work on healing herself. Like getting that healing, because she couldn't have never got into a relationship with somebody like him if she had did that healing, and she would have saw the signs ahead of time. All right. Because the first thing he did, drive a wedge between her and her friends and get rid of her mom and everything like that. Because like I said, game peep game. She already been going through stuff with her mom. Right. So it's just kind of like it don't take much. And then if you work on yourself and you don't have no insecurities, all you got to do is figure out somebody else's insecurities and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Whatever they feel like they need, you give it to them, and now you got them. That's the game. That is the game. That is the whole thing. So that's why you have to be made whole, right, before you even get into somebody, so it won't be no codependency around there, right? So that's what we learned with Kandi. But I do respect Kandi kept her math right. Her math is all good. As long as her math is good, as long as she got the best people, I feel like Kandi gonna be all right. But I can't imagine going through something so public like that. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that she is allowing herself the privacy, of going through the situation, relationship didn't work out, blah, blah, blah. And then just, because she's going to be all right. But I feel like when you have so much money and fame and things like that, you really have to take care of you on the inside. Because people will be with you and love you when you on top, but the moment something go wrong, can't find nobody. Phone's not picking up. You know what I mean? So that's what we learned from Kandi. Yes. All right, Meghan. Ooh, yes. You know, it's really Meghan, Tiana Taylor. Excuse the noise. Okay. These people can't drive. I'm sorry. All right. It's really Meghan. It's Tiana Taylor. And I believe Cardi. They are really, really choosing better. Leaving out of the relationships, okay? Leaving out of these, you know, toxic relationships, back and forth. And I really should have put a picture of Cardi up here as well. But I'm going to talk about her in a minute. But, you know, choose better. Better relationships, okay? Better relationships. We see better relationships in 2025. And I feel like, and I'm hoping, right, that we will continue that. Okay? They're leaving one situation and getting into a better situation immediately. Okay? And I am happy about that. I really am. Now, I will say, I did not like when, he was late picking her up from the airport and he had roses, you know, and he was just very much apologetic. I didn't like the response from some people saying that it was too much. I don't feel like it's ever enough. Some people feel like, you know, he must got something up his sleeve and da 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 da. Here's the thing. Why he just can't be apologetic? Because, you know, he was supposed to be somewhere and he values her and values her time. Right? He values her time and he don't want to inconvenience her. Now, could it be a PR relationship? Hey, but this is a better PR relationship than, you know, whatever Cardi and what's her name was doing, you know? Yeah. So it's just kind of like, let her have happiness and also enjoy seeing happiness, right? I feel like because we're so used to seeing traumatic relationships online and everything like that, when you finally see something that's lovey-dovey, right, you call it simp and you call all this. I say anybody, just block them because you ain't used to seeing love, and that's the problem. You're not used to listening to, you know, the Marvin Gaye, Boys to Men. You're not used to that. So you don't know how to react. Like, you automatically think something is bad. Okay. Could it be forced? But can we just enjoy happiness, right? Enjoy the happiness, enjoy the love, you know, and enjoy women leaving and getting somebody better immediately. Okay. Do it today. Don't delay. Do it today. Okay. Next. All right. Beyonce. I don't know if this happened in 2025, but I feel like it did. I feel like it did happen. She got the Grammy for country album of the year, or was it album? I think it was country album of the year and I don't know. But then they go ahead and change the you know what I'm saying? They changed the category. All right. So we'll talk about career again, but as an African American woman, you have to always be ready. Okay. Because your excellence offends other people, right? It offends other people. You know, they should have just let her have whatever she wanted when she came out with the Dixie Chicks. Okay. All right. And she had the song about her dad or something like that. You should have just let her have whatever, let her have it. But now she come out with a whole new album. Not only that, she's going to come out with another album going to be rock. Okay. So how about that? Right? And I don't appreciate the contemporary versus traditional, because as it relates to what the category is, it was always black in the first place. You see what I'm saying? And so now they're showing their colors, right? But you know what? It ain't gonna prosper. But for us, it's a learning moment. Like, as soon as you get something, it's like they change the new post, the new goalpost, the new expectation, right? You're excellent. You're excellent. You're knocking it out the park. And another thing that I don't like is, why is she always being compared to Taylor? Mediocrity. The word, you know what I'm talking about. Why is she always being compared? Because I'm not going to lie, I don't understand where the supreme energy of Taylor comes from. I don't know where that comes from. I've never seen so much excellence. I've never seen anything come from over there. In fact, I'm not even going to get into Taylor's business like that. It wasn't even on my list. Okay. I'm not going to talk about how the fact that her whole album was just being in fear that he might leave her again for somebody that he used to be with because da 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 da. It's just, this year was a highlight of, excellence versus regular degler schmegler. Okay. And it's just, I just don't feel like it's fair. I just don't think that's fair. I'm gonna hold space for the fact that it's not fair. But just because, other people fail to see how great and wonderful we are, does not mean that we're not going to continue to be great. Just because you can't see it, don't mean it's not there. Okay. We're gonna continue to be excellent, be better than you. Yeah, we're gonna keep doing it. Right? Because you need that. We need that. It's for us. It's not on us. It's in us, and we're going to keep doing it, but I just kind of feel like that's very inspirational, to see that, and then, you know what? Beyonce didn't let it go. 50 Cent didn't let it go either, but we're not talking about men today. We're talking about, she didn't let it go. And so what I'm learning from this situation is, the best revenge is your paper. It is your paper. But also, when somebody do something to you, you might not get them today. We might not get them today. We might not get them tomorrow, but we're going to get them. Beyonce is a Scorpio moon, and so am I. And I identify with that. I might not get you today. I'm not going to get you today, but I'm going to get you. Don't worry about it. It's on my to-do list. Okay. It's in the planner. It's going to happen, right? Long game. Play the long game. Beyonce teaches us to play the long game. She does. She's playing the chess and not the checkers. That's what we learned from Beyonce in 2025. We're playing the chess, not the checkers. And you know what? Beyonce is also playing Uno. Right? She's playing Uno because she's keep hitting us with these draw fours. Like, you thought I was done. I'm going to hit you with a Renaissance. Then I'm going to hit you with the Cowboy Carter. Now I'm going to hit you with a rock. Yes. We're doing it big every single time. She's playing Uno out, no mercy. No mercy. No quarter. No, we're not taking no prisoners. None of that. Period. So that's what we learn. I'm trying to fix my hair, y'all. This is the last day that I'm going to be looking like I'm in a boy band. Oh, I made my own bang. It's a bang for real. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay. Madam Vice President. She dropped a book. I think it was called 107 days. I was going to say years. I'm sorry. 107 days. Talking about her campaign trail. Yes. The energy that I'm feeling here. First of all, I don't feel like it's fair for her to have to go through what she went through. I feel like she should have went through the process earlier. They should not have waited until Biden, like, they shouldn't have waited as long as they did. Okay. Now, the middle part of myself that's all about law and decorum is they should have had a primary. They need to have a primary because you cheat the voters out of having what it is. So I don't like the fact that they waited at the last minute and rushed. She deserved to have the process the same way everybody else always have the process. All right. It sets precedent when you do stuff out of order. Okay. Just like we don't want a dictator, we have to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Waiting till the last minute because you was just going to do a shoe-in, like, I don't like that. Okay, that's just me. I don't like that. I feel like we're going to do the process. We're going to win. We're going to win the right way. That's how I feel. Okay, but even then, we're all on board. Okay, because ain't nobody got time for that. But they took our choice from us, right? But anyway, we're all on board. But then they do what they always do. One, I don't like how they campaign to black people. You know, I don't like all the celebrities and stuff like that. I don't like all of that. Okay? All right? Because do I look like I'm a vote for whoever the baby and them vote? Look, no. Okay? I think that this have nothing to do with her, but it's just like the party needs to do better about who they're talking to, right? And then they need to act like they want it. They need to act like they want the vote, okay? Black people are not a monolith, and you can't talk to us like you've been talking to us, especially not no young millennials like myself, okay? Yeah, we do a key, but where's the policy? Where's the procedure, okay? Period. You have to do a little bit better with communicating with our community because we ain't going for all of that. That's number one. But number two, you know, I don't appreciate how, you know, they played in her face. And they keep playing in black women's faces. Okay. We're always talking about listen to black women. We're always talking about be there for black women, trust black women. But when it comes to handing over the keys, when it comes to signing on the dotted line, the other people are just they're not willing to do it. They're willing to vote against their own interests every single time. They're willing to shoot themselves in the foot every single time. They're willing to put other supremacy on top of what they want every single time. And I feel like I talked about this. I'm having deja vu. I feel like I already said this already, but it's just kind of like, it's disrespectful. It's highly disrespectful. Because you could be a black woman in a professional space, you get your promotion, and then you get all this pushback. You get all this pushback. Where was all this love when you were just, a professional? Then you go and you make partner and you do all these other things. And now all of a sudden, where's all this hate? Now you with competition, right? Now you in competition. They want to get you out of there because they just can't fathom that you could be better than they are, right? They just can't see it. They just can't, you know what I mean? And that's disheartening because it's like, why even show up? Why even champion? We've been championing everybody else's causes. But when we come and now we need to be at the helm, you don't want us at the helm. So you just going to run it into a ditch, huh? Well, fine. Tear it up. Tear it up. Tear it up. That's, if you don't want to have nice things, tear it up. That's what I say. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's just kind of like I'm not going to say salvation, but the energy I'm feeling is your salvation might not come in the packaging that you anticipate. It might not be Prime. It might be USPS, but you got what you needed, right? And so we need to do better. Not us, but, other people. But the thing is, it's like, what do we do with this information? What do we do with this information? Do we just give up as a people? Do we leave the country? What do we do? What exactly do we do? How do we show up every day knowing that we are working alongside people that, say they love us, but when it come down to it, they don't want to be behind, or whatever the case may be. Like we can't drive their car, you know. And it's disheartening. Like, you're good enough to shine shoes and clean up and da 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 da, but don't step out of line. Don't step out of the ordinary. Don't step out of your place. You know what I mean? You can want stuff, but you can't want too much. How much is too much? And who determines what's too much? See, that's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? So that's what we're learning. That's going to be an ongoing theme. Like, what are we going to do now? Because now we have Jasmine Crockett coming, right? She's campaigning and stuff like that. And we've had African-American women along, you know, coming up, and then they continue to play in our faces just because we don't look like the model whatever. We're not good enough to lead. No. You know what I'm saying? And so that's going to be a ongoing conversation. I don't have any answers. Okay. We didn't learn anything. We just seen it happening again in real time, you know? So I wanted to bring it up. I felt that one in my spirit. Okay. You know, because that tell-all book was very nice. And I liked the way that she campaigned, and I liked, you know, she went to different media sources, and we got to see that personality. I feel like when she was campaigning, we didn't get to see as much personality as we would have liked. Also, I feel like if she was going to be campaigning, she should have been campaigning while she was, you know, because I feel like when she was in the vice presidency, we didn't hear too much. But I don't know. It could have been some beef. It was beef going on, you know, and they always hanging us out to dry and everything like that. But it's just like, as we navigate professional, you know, places and spaces, where do we find the sunshine? You know what I mean? How do we get the courage to show up and continue to excel and exceed expectation every day, day by day by day, you know? I think the answer is going to be, we're going to do what Whitney would have wanted us to do, and we're going to take it step by step, day by day. That's my favorite song. Okay, and moving on. Meghan, Miss Markle, princess, queen. She had a show. She has a show on Netflix. Have I seen it? No, but it's on my to-do list. Because when I watch it, I want to just enjoy it. But you know what? It was a lot of just leisure. She was making jam, you know, wonderful things. And I believe that they might have hit a record. I don't know. I think she hit a record. If she didn't, I'm going to say it. She hit a record. Anyway, it's on my to-do list to watch that. I'm probably going to watch it when I go visit. I don't be watching TV when I'm at home, but like, it's on my to-do list to watch the show. But there was a lot of like irritation, aggravation, you know, pertaining to her show on Netflix. And it was mainly because they thought it was boring. Okay. They thought it was boring. They thought she wasn't doing, you know, and all this other stuff. And you know what? I feel like we as African-American women, but also everybody else, we deserve to see Black women in leisure, in comfort, and in happiness. Okay? Everybody don't want to watch Zeus Network all day. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I don't want to hear bleep, 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 bleep. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that all day. Okay? We deserve to have different media formats for different people. We are not a monolith. All Black people don't like the same stuff, right? Some of us want to watch jam. We want to watch the jam. Fix us some jam, Markle. Fix us something, okay? Tell us what to do. You know, I want to see it. That's what I like, okay? I want to watch Kimura's new show. Fab Lane used to be my favorite show when I was a teenager. Kimura Lee Simmons. I wanted to live in the lap of luxury. Amen. Maybe if I watched it, it will trickle down to me. Everybody does not want to watch Love and Hip Hop. Everybody don't want to watch that. Some of us want to just, and even if you go into the housewives, everybody don't want to, like, I don't want to get into the mess. Just give me all of the happiness, the joy, the fulfillment, the orchards. Give me all of that with no drama. I'm all dramaed out. Okay. I have to deal with drama at work all day. I want peace and just comfort television, right? So we need to be catering to different things. And then another thing that I don't like is, you know, some people really get a kick out of seeing us in different, in that energy. Like, they don't ever want to see us in happiness and leisure. Like, the same way they feel that, you know, she shouldn't be a princess or have a title, a duchess or whatever. That's how they feel. You see what I'm saying? Because she doesn't look like what they already, you just see what I'm saying? It's that racism, that white supremacy. Yeah. And you know what? Those issues are their issues, not our problem. Not our problem. Okay. Not our circus. Okay. And so I feel like she should continue to have her show. She needs to keep having the show. Okay. And we need to see more Black women in happiness, in leisure, because it allows us to, like, have a breath of fresh air. And I feel like if you see yourself in it, you give yourself something else to aspire to, right? I bet if we had our kids watching things like that, they will aspire to different things, okay? Because I work in the hood, I know the kids love watching these shows. They don't have a separation between adult TV and kid TV. Like, we was watching Raven Simone. Right? Okay. These kids are all watching, you know, we love her, Jocelyn. They're all watching the same thing. You see what I'm saying? And so they're aspiring to these things. But if you show them another way, then they can aspire to another way. But if you've never seen it, then it's a little bit harder, right? You have to expose the children. You have to expose, expand your horizons. Okay. But the issue is some people are just used to seeing us in a certain type of light, and they feel like that is where we should be. We have to stay in our box. We have to stay in our lane. And in 2025, we learned that we don't have to stay in our lane. Beyonce told us we can do whatever we want, right? We can put out whatever kind of music we want to put out, and that's what we gonna do. Okay. Period. And she's telling us if we want to make some jam, by golly, we gonna make the jam. Period. And another thing is what they hate so much is Harry love her. That's why they mad. He renounced the title. For her. Period. That's why you mad. That's why they mad. They mad. Woo, that's none of my business though. Anyway, moving on. Who's next? All right. Let's talk about girl world. Okay. I really love the support that Beyonce has for Kelly. Kelly has a show I think she's opening up for the Monica and Brandi tour, and I think it's amazing and beautiful. You know, Beyonce went to a couple of shows, had some notes, and she switched up some things, and it's just all about iron sharpens iron. That's what we learned right there. Iron sharpens iron. Then another thing is we learn is, you know, there's enough room for everybody to succeed. You know what I mean? We can be friends and we can be reaching and we can be in the room together. You know what I'm saying? We can be in the room together. We can be, you know, I give you notes, you give me notes. I just love their, I was going to say sisterhood, but I just love them together. I really do. And I love it. Moving on. I didn't really have that much, but I just kind of feel like there's this pressure that when you're trying to get to the top or whatever case may be, I feel like we need to see more Black women being in friendship. There is this, and I'm talking about it in the work video. I keep talking about the work video because some of these things interlap, but it's just like when we talk about Black women being in positions of authority, there's this stigma that Black women have this thing. You know what I mean? This thing, like they do be doing too much thing. You know what I mean? Like they doing too much. And I know we just talked about Black women in leadership, but sometimes we have to do the utmost because we got to, it's got to be a certain type of way. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like it only take a couple of months and this country would be right where it's supposed to be, right? With a black woman in there, okay? Because we be doing 50 million things all at one time, okay? But it's just like there's this stigma that two black women can't get along, or black women in leadership or whatever, or you can be friends and y'all are trying to do things and you can't because y'all are competition and things like that. And I just don't think that you can be competitive and still be friends. Iron is always going to sharpen the iron. You know what I mean? You can always learn from other people, and I think the issue is that, sometimes we don't feel like other people are on our level. And so we don't feel like they have anything to say about what we got going on. We're not good at taking constructive criticism. But at the same time, what is constructive criticism? What does it look like, right? We're not good and effective communicators, right? Because for you, constructive criticism is one thing, and for me, you a hater. It could be either way. But the thing is, like, you take what apply, and if it don't apply, let it fly. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like we have to do better with communication. But I feel like they do a really good, because they could have had this chip on the shoulder, and I really just love their friendship, especially because being in Beyonce's shadow, she experienced it and she did have issues with that. And she was honest about that, and that came out. And the fact that they were able to heal and work through that, and even still, I still want to perform, help me out with my performance. You know what I'm saying? I love that. Because I just kind of feel like they should be leaning on her. Like, Beyonce, help us out. Call some people. Make some calls. Hook me up, right? I'm sure that she is always willing to help them. And I just, And see, here we go. I love this picture. This is Beyonce, Monica, Kelly, Patty, and I think that's Solange. Yes, I love that. And I brought that up because we have heard that there are issues between Beyonce and Brandi. You know what? I love Brandi. I do. I really love Brandi. And I love Beyonce, and I love Monica. I love everybody. And you know what? Even if they're not getting along or whatever the case, because they ain't nothing came out. All right? We just know that they're not taking pictures together. Okay. All right. We don't know. We don't know what we don't know. But you know what? You don't always have to be friends with people. And if you're not friends, you don't have to talk about it. You just, what? Mariah Carey said, I don't know her. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a thing. I feel like we create things, where there might not be a thing. All right. But it is kind of telling that she ain't took no picture with her. Not even just a girl here. Come on, let's take this picture for the people and move on. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like maybe you need to stand on business. But mind your business because it's not our business to know why they don't like each other or whatever the case may be. So, you know what I mean? But it makes me wonder. I'm not even going to get into it, but here's the thing. So, Monica had an issue with Brandi. And it was a physical vibe. I feel like Brandi gets off easy because she seems like she's innocent. Because she's so America's sweetheart, neo vibe. And Monica is around the way. So, But it's very telling. But we don't know anything. So we can't talk about things that we don't know. Because we don't know what we don't know. Moving on. Oh, God. Woo, honey child. I believe they was arguing right before Cardi's album came out. And you know what? I got the feeling like y'all gotta be friends, because why are we arguing right before the album come out? Okay. Also, even if you're not friends with somebody, you can still provide information. I like that Cardi told her that somebody was running it up on her accounts. Okay. But my question is, like, how does she know that? Now, I know that Cardi dibbles and dabbles, but what I'm saying is, let me move this over here. Okay. At this point, why are we fighting? Like, what is the real problem? And I'm going to talk about, that's why I wanted to end it on this one, because I am going to talk about career and longevity and things of that nature. But I just kind of feel like, just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean you have to talk about them or say anything. What happened to just ignoring, because I work at a school, my first instinct is always going to be, do not engage. Do not engage. Do not engage. Because you might be in a situation or environment where you're talking to somebody that is on a different level and they are on a different social energy, right? They're on a different vibe. And so don't engage. Every little thing we don't have to respond to every little thing. You're going to be, yeah. And so for me, it's like, is it manufactured? Because like, oh my God, I've never seen people be so upset with each other over nothing. Like, what is this? Right? What is it? And then the other thing, Nicki girl, as of late, I don't know what is going on with her. I don't know. And you know what? I love Nicki, but like, I don't know anymore. I don't know. And we're going to talk about that in career, longevity, and can women have it all? They are going to be in there, because I love that Cardi left her relationship. But the thing is, when she got with Offset, he was the main probably breadwinner in the relationship. And then she gets in a relationship and she eclipses him, right? And so, you see what I'm saying? And then she's the breadwinner, right? And so that in itself emasculates the man. And so he has to seek out other excursions, right? And so, but you're a woman, you have family, you have kids. We got stuff to do. We don't have time to be, you know what I'm saying? We need to make this money, get this popping. But what happened when you in a relationship with this man and it ain't going the way you thought? You manifested this man and it didn't work out the way you thought it was going to work out. Period. Now, the issue that we have with the Nicki is, if you are not healed and if you are male identified, you will perpetuate the same trauma that you yourself may have experienced. Hurt people, right? And, yeah. But it's just kind of like, because that's a long thing to talk about. But the thing is like, I just don't feel like you should be arguing with people, and everything. Because this is getting into the career. So we're going to be talking about career tomorrow. Tomorrow, I feel it is going to be about, because I've seen it. And tomorrow's video is going to be poetic. Because I have compiled I have journal entries and just data in my head of just, when women are successful, this is how it goes every single time, So it's like, tread lightly, And it's sad, but something that I'm seeing is a reoccurring thing. It's like, If you are not healed, it makes it easy for someone to come in and take advantage of your situation. And before you know it, okay, you could be at their will. We learned that with Wendy. Yeah, I didn't bring her up. You know, I wanted to keep it light and airy, but it's just like you bring in these men that are now your like bodyguards or your manager or whatever. We're gonna talk about that tomorrow. Women, high profile women, and their relationships. What do we learn? And then just like not just their relationships, but like, can you have it all? I'm sorry. Can you have it all? Like, what does it mean to be high achieving? And then you're a high achiever, but like, what are your prospects for a relationship? You see what I'm saying? Like, what are your prospects? Can they choose better? Now we see Cardi can choose better, but Nicki, who's she gonna choose? That's a good question. But she can do better than Let's go. I'll see y'all in the next video. She can do better than that.